You remember just one thing about today? It should be this. It's finally Friday from Hollywood. It's the world-famous Mojo Elliott with another action-packed adventure of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Thanks for being here. I'm thawing out today, folks. I am naked in purple right now. How's that for a visual? Yeah, it got down to like 35 last night. When you add the ocean breeze that comes off, it gets downright cold. You know, you have the actual temperature, then they give you the feel like. It felt like 10 below. It felt like I was back in North Dakota in January. Oh, so cold. And we'll get up to 63 today, but right now I'm just thawing out. Hey, go get signed up for the Rat Nation right now while I'm reminding you at ratsasspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards, and it's not for everybody. But go check it out at ratsasspodcast.com. Yeah, I got a question for the New York Knicks right now. How's your taint feeling? Yeah, the Lakers kicked the Knicks right in the taint last night. They trailed the whole damn game by 10, 12 points and then rallied in the fourth quarter to tie it up at 99, send the game into overtime and won 113-109 for their eighth straight win. The best part was watching Charles Barkley eat crow after the game. He cannot give the Lakers any props whatsoever. You know, he said, yeah, the Lakers played a great game, but he focused more on the Knicks not getting the ball into Karl Anthony Towns. Now, when the Luka trade was done, Barkley said the Lakers were not contenders and that LeBron and Luka would not be able to coexist. And it's been anything but. So he's got a lot of crow to eat. And it's fun to watch him squirm when he has to talk about the Lakers. I love it. All right, I'm going to grind my gears for a minute on our slumlord Governor Gavin Newsom. He's not worth more than that, but he's starting to position himself for a presidential run in 2028. Forget the fact that he still has a job as governor of California, but as usual, he's off to the next opportunity. Being governor, I won the election, now I'm off to the next thing. Forget the current responsibilities. Let somebody else worry about it. But here's how this prick operates. He signed a bill in California making it okay for men to participate in women's sports. Then yesterday he comes out and he says, yeah, you know, I understand the fairness issue involved with men playing in women's sports. He's still not willing to do a damn thing about it, but his deal is, I acknowledge it. Doesn't mean I'm going to do anything about it. Newsom is the epitome of don't listen to what he says, pay attention to what he does. That's how he operates. It's always the opposite of what he says, by the way. He's typical Democrat. He will tell you what you want to hear to get elected, but he is a through and through California liberal. He's Kamala Harris with a dick, and that's debatable. So I'll just put it that way for you. Maybe Joe Biden on steroids, slicker than Obama, and if Satan had a son, it would be Slumlord Gavin Newsom. So watch out for this guy, man. He's bad news. I'm counting on the fact that 49 other states hate California, that they won't even give this guy the time of day to elect him as president of the United States of America. All right, this is worth a quick mention. On Wednesday, I told you about a new Netflix show called Running Point, starring Kate Hudson. Well, after 1 week, it's already been renewed on Netflix for a season 2. That's how good it is. Just keep this in mind. When it comes to picking hit shows and hit songs, I do have a reputation of being always right, unless I'm wrong. You can trust me on that. All right, let's give up another Rat's Ass Podcast Dumbass of the Week Award. Who do you think it is? I bet you know already, don't you? Congratulations to the disruptor representative from Texas, Soros Democrat dipshit Al Green, for trying to interrupt President Trump's speech, shaking his cane at him. You know, I mean, if you're that old and you got to have a cane, maybe you shouldn't be working in government. You know, this is the problem. We've got too many people walking around with canes in D.C., but he ended up getting the boot from the speech and was censored for it. You dumbass. Congratulations. All right, it's time to play Head Trauma. This round is called the Head Game. I want you to riddle me this. If there are 9 players on a baseball team and 3 strikes makes an out and 4 balls make a walk, how many outs are there in an inning? Think about that. I'll have the answer coming up on the podcast. I'll also post it on the Rat's Ass Podcast Facebook page. And you can connect at ratsasspodcast.com. You can do everything through ratsasspodcast.com, by the way. Are you ready for some loose behavior? I hope so, because it's finally Friday. All right, here's what's happening on the Rat's Ass Podcast X feed. Crimson Ride posted this. What is a memorable sex dream you had that came true? Taylor Wise said, I once dreamed I was having sex on a bow of a boat with two guys. I went to Miami on vacation and met two hot guys who happened to own a boat. After one bottle of champagne, my dream came true. She's always dreamed of becoming a finger cuff. Congratulations, Taylor, on your dream coming true. I've always dreamed of being a finger cuff. All right, John Wallace said, I dreamed of having sex on a pile of money with a girl I had a crush on in high school. I ran into her on our 15th high school reunion, and I told her about my fantasy, and she came back to my apartment, and we had sex on a pile of Monopoly money. That's improvisational sex right there. Candy Cane said this, I had a dream I was walking alone on a beach and met a stranger who seduced me. I went to Hawaii last year and met a stranger on the beach, but I seduced him. No names were given. We had hot sex on the beach, and we went our separate ways, and that was it. Congratulations, Candy Cane, on making that one come true. But I'm thinking of the name Candy Cane. There was a movie in the early 2Ks called Joyride. I don't know if a lot of people saw this film or not, but Steve Zahn, Paul Walker was in it with Lee Sobieski. And a story about Steve Zahn who gets on, they're doing this cross-country trip. Zahn says he jumps on a CB radio and uses the name Candy Cane, seduces some truck driver who finds them and makes their life a living hell. If you haven't seen Joyride, it's a pretty good movie. Good escape. Something to do this weekend for you. All right, let's get into today's celebrity cheese. Got some extra cheese on this one today, as always. All right, more charges have been filed against Sean P. Diddy Combs, added forced labor and employee assault to the massive number of racketeering and sex crimes levied against him so far. His trial does go on, I believe it's May 5th, coming up in about a couple of months yet still. There's still no word, though, on when his dildo collection will go on auction. But I'll keep you posted on that because I know you want to know about that. Yellowstone fans will cream their jeans over this one. Season 5, Part 2 will be making its debut on the Peacock Network, the Piscock, on November 10th. Yeah, I call it the Piscock Network. And you'll be able to binge the entire series from start to finish finally. Yep, to sum it up this way, you're going to have Beth and Rip coming out of your bunghole over the holiday season, just 8 short months away. You may have heard that Dolly Parton's husband, Carl Dean, passed away. They were together nearly 60 years. He died at the age of 82 earlier this week, and Dolly said, Carl is now in the loving hands of God, and I'm okay with that. Translated, that means, Dolly's single again. Yeah, baby. Was that too soon? LeBron James chewed up ESPN host Stephen A. Smith. Gave him a new asshole last night before the Lakers game. Before the Lakers smacked the Knicks, kicked him in the taint. I guess James was pissed off about comments Smith made about his son, Bronny James. A lot of people have a problem with Bronny James playing in the NBA. They don't think he's an NBA quality player. You know, I get the nepotism part. He got the opportunity, but the Lakers are still making him earn it. He's only playing in meaningless games and mop-up. Now, in the G League, where guys are working to get to the NBA, Bronny's averaging 13.5 points. It's not bad. He's doing a lot better than a lot of the other guys who were drafted. Now, granted, James, late second-round draft pick by the Lakers. Most second-round draft picks don't make it to the NBA. You might find a diamond in the rough once in a while, but rarely does a second-round pick make it. So, but here's the deal with Bronny. I'm going to take up for him a little bit. He's only 20 years old. Last season at USC, he had a heart ailment and missed most of the season. So then you come back from that, you got to get in shape, and you've got all this pressure on you for being LeBron James' son. He gets an opportunity, and yeah, I agree with the nepotism part of it. He doesn't get this opportunity, but he's making the most of it. And he's technically a college sophomore, for crying out loud. So give the guy a break. He's just trying to make it. He's trying to do it. And everybody's always up his ass. But if you have a problem with Bronny James playing in the NBA, I mean, seriously, most people really don't give a rat's ass that you do. All right, here comes the Rat's Ass Podcast email from our Gmail. Email your questions, comments, and observations to me at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com, and I answer them here on the cast. No topic is off the table, but the more outrageous and salacious, the better. I do not read your emails in advance. My producer, Fleabag, forwards me your name, where you're from, and rewrites them so I can respond rapid fire and on the fly. Beck T. from San Francisco, California, said you asked what prayers up and staying prayed up meant versus just saying a prayer. Prayers up basically replaced thoughts and prayers because sending thoughts and prayers became offensive to some. And think about prayed up as being a protective coat around you. You said your prayers for the day, and now you're protected by the hands of God. You know what, Beck? That's a good observation. I appreciate it. Amen to that. Amen to that. So now I do have an understanding of what prayed up means and what prayers up means. It's basically a prayer still. All right, Terry S., Columbus, Ohio. Did you see the latest STD stats? You know, it's been a while, Terry. I don't really stay up on my STD stats anymore, but he said 1 in 3 18 to 25-year-olds currently have an STD. 2 in 4 adults 26 to 49 currently have an STD, and 6 in 10 adults over 50 currently have an STD. 66% across the board are women are unaware that they have an STD. I keep wanting to say SUV. STD. That's how far removed I am from paying attention to the STD stats. He said, does this shock you? Not really. I mean, people have sex up until they die. So the fact that, I guess, 6 in 10 adults over 50 kind of shocks me a little bit. 1 in 3, 18 to 25 doesn't. 2 in 4 adults, 26, 49? No, not really. All I'm worried about is I hope to God we don't run out of penicillin. Tyler P., Greensboro, North Carolina. You mentioned you had 3 guns named Mo, Larry, and Curly, and nobody would want to meet Curly. What kind of gun is Curly? Well, they don't want to give it away. I'll just say it this way. Curly, when I hear Curly shooting, when I take him out for a ride and we go to the park and the shooting range. When we go to the shooting range and I pull the trigger, Curly goes, whoop, 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 whoop. That's what he sounds like to me. That's what I hear in my head. Somebody getting shot by Curly, probably going to feel a different sensation. All right, Max D., Manhattan, Kansas. I like how you've defined the radical Democrats as the Soros Democrats. I'm a traditional Democrat, and I hate being lumped in with these assholes. I think you have to look at it this way. I grew up in a Democratic family. There's a reason why Donald Trump went from being a Democrat to a Republican. Robert Kennedy Jr. going from a Democrat to be a Republican. Joe Rogan, Democrat to Republican. Elon Musk, Democrat to Republican. Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat to Republican. These guys are operating like traditional Democrats, to be quite honest with you. They really are. So now you have a Democratic Party that is run by the Soros Democrats, bought and paid for. They're radicals, all of them, Gavin Newsom included in that. And it's a party all to themselves. Remember the Republican Party had a kind of a break-off, and they had, the Tea Party? Remember the whole Tea Party thing? And they became kind of like the radical right. Well, this is what the Soros Democrats are. And I think you have to put them into that category so that you don't lump them in with a traditional Democrat. Most of the traditional Democrats, and the reason why Trump got reelected, is because they went to the center. They'll either call themselves an independent because they don't want to be lumped in with a Democrat, or maybe a libertarian. But a Democrat that turns libertarian will never be a true libertarian, because libertarians, which I am, we believe in personal freedom, limited government, and capitalism. A true Democrat does not believe in capitalism. And that's the difference. And that's really the subtle difference between what used to be the Democratic and Republican parties. So I felt that it's time to rebrand the Democratic Party after their owner, the Soros Democrats. We'll see if that catches on with anybody else. But that's the explanation behind it. Deborah G., Laredo, Texas said, I'm 26 and I started dating a guy who's only 19. I know it's a bad idea, but tell me why it might not be. If you're just having fun, who cares? Maybe your boyfriend at 19 is 19 going on 26. Now, here's where it becomes a problem, I think, if this relationship goes on. Remember Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore? She's about 15 years older than him. And when she hit her early 50s, Ashton looked at her and said, you know what, I think I'm going to check out of this marriage and get me some Mila Kunis, who's 7 years younger than him. I think when you hit 56 and he's 49, he's going to see himself as 40, and he's going to get footloose and fancy free on you. So be careful with that. Why, now, who cares? Who gives a rat's ass? Go have a good time. Lily K., Perth, Australia. My boyfriend is in a rock band and goes on tour for weeks at a time. I just found out he has a girlfriend in 4 other towns. Now, I've gathered these women, and we're all going to surprise attack his ass. Oh, God. And confront him over it. Would it be best to do this in public or private? Lily, I would say take the Jerry Maguire approach. Do it in public so it avoids a scene. In private, who knows? I don't know this guy. I don't know if he has a temper or not. If he's a bass player, he's probably mellow. If he's a drummer, probably a little bit aggressive. So I don't know. I would say public is probably your best bet there. All right, if you have any questions, observations, or comments, send them to me at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. All right, here's your head trauma answer. This round is called the head game. So riddle me this. If there are 9 players on a baseball team and 3 strikes makes an out and 4 balls makes a walk, how many outs are there in an inning? Would you believe most people's quick guess out of the gate is 3. But there's 6 outs per inning, 3 per team. That's why we call it the head game. How'd you do? If you missed it, you know you have to go see a doctor now about your head trauma. All right, I got to go get my nose hair braided for the weekend, but I do have one more thing for you. A recent study says lazy people accomplish more because their laziness enables them to find the easiest and quickest way to get things done. My God, where can I pop a pill for that? All right, let's do some shout-outs to our new members of Rat Nation. Mark Green from Indiana, Tina Rowe from Texas, Liam Northcraft in Florida, Sandy McMillan from Oregon, and Jared Madazinski in New York. Welcome to the club. And that's it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Be sure to check out the new ratsasspodcast.com. You can connect with us on the socials, listen to the podcasts, join Rat Nation while you're there, and read the blog, where you'll find the 7 signs that a guy or a girl is a complete whack job. We'll do this again on Monday, March 10th. Have a great weekend. Take care of each other, and thanks for stopping by the Rat's Ass Podcast.